So why do people migrate? And what are the main reasons of migrating? Why the heck would I even consider leaving my home, my country, to start afresh in a new country, new city, where I don't have family, no friends, no job? Heck, I don't even know their culture or may not even understand their local language. Why would I even put myself through that? Do you even know how much the entire relocation would cost me? And the whole resettlement all over again? That would take so much time. Is it even worth it?
All this and much more coming right up. Hello there and welcome to the Visa Nerd. I hope you're all doing well. My name is Anne. I'm the creator of this channel where we talk about all things travel, visa, and immigration related topics. There are so many factors that lead to people migrating, and on this video I'm gonna discuss the reasons why people choose to still migrate in this day and age. I'll also share the benefits that they get as a result and why they feel that it's still worth it. Regardless of the many reasons, I feel that they can all be categorized in either as a push factor or a pull factor. Push factors are exactly that. Push. They push an individual to want to leave their country, whereas pull factors draw you into their country. So those are factors that are favorable, such that people want to go into their country. So let's first discuss the push factors. So the push factors can be categorized into 7. They are either political, economical, social, cultural, religious, legal, or environmental. Let's now start with political. What political reasons could there be to make somebody want to get out of the country? So some of these political reasons may include acts of violence. There are countries that are really prone to violence, war, or conflict, and so the citizens are put in a position whereby they have to flee the country due to political wrangles just to escape persecution or violence and just go to safer countries that are not quite so dangerous, where they can feel safe. They probably end up seeking asylum or become refugees in safer countries. Another reason is political suppression. And what do I mean by political suppression? I mean that you're not allowed to be yourself. Some countries in Africa and in the Middle East particularly cannot allow same-sex marriage or even love. It's actually illegal in so many of these countries. Matter of fact, in some African countries, government politicians are actually pushing for it to be punishable by death. So if you're gay, would you imagine living in these countries? You are made to either not be who you truly are, suppress themselves for the rest of their lives, or flee the country and actually go to a country that lets you thrive and really be who you are. Most people actually do end up just fleeing the country and going to other countries where they are allowed to be themselves. Other than political suppression, there's also political oppression, whereby you are not able to basically express yourself. There is no freedom of speech. And as much as it's there, it's mostly written and not really practiced. You may not be able to, let's say, criticize the government. I think that's very familiar for so many African countries. And especially if you're really big on advocacy, you feel like this environment is way too oppressive for you and you feel the need to go to another country or another region whereby your views are actually respected and welcomed. Now let's move on to economic factors, which is a huge factor that actually has led to so many people migrating from one place to another. Why do people migrate for economic reasons? First of all, they want to escape unemployment. Maybe the country they're currently living in, there's so much unemployment. There aren't many job opportunities, and so they seek greener pastures, so they say, to go and look for better work opportunities. Poor pay is definitely another reason why people leave their countries, especially in Africa. You'd find that high caliber careers are not even appreciated when it comes to even just basic pay. And in other countries, they're actually paid triple the amount or even 4 times, even much more than that. And so if they get the opportunity, they actually do end up going there and making much money and progressing further in life as opposed to how they would have here back home. Another major reason is terrible work conditions, and this is closely tied to insufficient workers' rights. So you'd find that in other regions of the world, there are people who are really poorly paid and put through ridiculous work conditions, and basically they don't have much of workers' rights, and they feel like in other countries they would probably get just humane work conditions, and so that's maybe even reason enough for them to flee. Now, moving on to social factors. I wonder, how are the social services that are provided by your government in your country? I don't know about your country, but so many African countries, unfortunately, there's little support from the governments, and more so for the public facilities. You'd find that the hospitals are definitely not as well funded, and also the education system is really not as well funded. As a result, so many Africans opt to go the private way, not because they don't embrace the public facilities, but just so that they get a certain standard of service. Moving on to cultural factors. Culture is something that is totally unique to a specific place or a specific culture, and therefore it differs for so many people. However, there are countries whereby they feel like there's so much cultural restrictions and societal affiliations, and they feel that they want to break away from it. And especially for not just being a Black woman, but an African woman, there's a lot that is expected from me from society. And for somebody else that is not able to cope, they may feel that they want to change the society or the culture around them. And therefore they go to other places whereby there's less cultural affiliations. Now let's talk about one really sensitive factor: religion. There are some countries that are actually deeply religious, while there are other countries that are actually practicing religious fanaticism, the absolute extreme of religion. And individuals from these countries, some of them feel that it's so much infringed in their lives, they don't even have normal rights that just a basic human being should be able to have. The religion is really pushed down their throats, and when they're really forced into those circumstances, they feel like they just want to break away from all this religious fanaticism and extremities and just be their true authentic self. They just want to live their authentic lives far away from all this fanaticism. And so that's reason enough for them to just want to leave their country, and we respect that. Now on to environmental factors. You'll admit that there are some countries that are very notorious when it comes to crime and insecurity. That's reason enough for somebody to just want to go to a safer country, and especially for people who've had an incident or actually an ordeal. There are also people who actually simply migrate just because of weather. Good weather versus bad weather. There are those people who don't like too cold winters, and there are those ones who absolutely cannot tolerate extremely hot weathers. And for them, that's reason enough to move. Another major reason why people migrate is in search of better quality of life than compared to the home country. For example, power outages or interruptions always happens. Back now, where were we? And how about climate refugees? Did you actually know that yes, that's a thing? It's specifically for the people who move as a result of natural calamities, maybe in the form of earthquakes or tsunamis, floods, or such things, and they become displaced and have to find new lands, and majority of them actually go to areas whereby it's not prone to such calamities. And before we discuss the pull factors, the last push factor is actually legal. What are the legal factors that make someone want to leave their country? How is the legal system in your country? Is it actually functional? Or is it more just on paper and not really practiced? Or is it a situation whereby the highest bidder is the lawmaker? Because there's so many African countries that actually experience that. Unfortunately, because if that's the case, and especially if you feel so strongly about your rights, then I would understand why you would go to a country whereby the law is fair and is just. But what causes a legal system not to be fair or just? Corruption. Now, finally, let's discuss the pull factors. What actually draws you to come to a specific country or region? And just as we did the push factors, we're also going to categorize these pull factors as either political, economic, social, cultural, religious, legal, and environmental. On to political factors. The first one being political stability. How awesome would it be if, whether or not there's an election ongoing, the political climate is still stable, there are no clashes, there are no political crimes happening? I mean, that would be a dream. Secondly, government support. A supportive government that truly cares for its people. Secure defense systems that truly bring security to your country. Political freedom, and I mean in its truest form. And finally, a government that truly boosts its country's economy. One that makes it grow and it fulfills its citizens' needs. There are countries that actually provide all these political factors. Now let's move on to economic ones. More job opportunities, better pay, and I don't mean just salaries or wages. I mean also good overtime, favorable work conditions, better economies. In fact, economies that are booming, financial stability, and better quality of life. All this lure people to leave their countries and go to these countries that offer such economic boost. Now on to the social factors, and we'll start with availability of public resources. Can you imagine accessing great healthcare, free for everybody, all citizens, great public facilities, including hospitals and even education system? Matter of fact, there are countries who provide free education system even up to university level, all free of charge for all the citizens. I don't know if that's luring enough for you, but it is for me. Yes to education.
It's never enough.
How about the countries that actually provide great work-life balance? Did you know that the best country to live in the world only has a 27-hour work week? 27 hours, and it's the best country to live in the world? I don't know about you, but I want to find out more about that country. And if you stick around and watch my next video, I'm gonna share. Great social welfare is also huge. It's a game changer. Can you imagine having unemployment insurance? There's a country that actually offers that. Family allowances on a monthly basis. But of course, there are other people who just want to immigrate simply just to have a superior passport. Please don't come at me because I've used the word superior. But in actual sense, if we're really being truthful, not all countries are equal. There are others that are superior. And that is the reason why the countries that actually don't even bother with visas, because they literally can access majority of the countries on this earth.
Whereas for me, I think I've needed a visa for all the 20 countries that I've been to.
So those countries that we're calling superior actually don't need a visa. They don't even need a work permit to work in specific places. And they have full rights to even just buy property in those countries freely.
Today I'm working in the US. Tomorrow I'm buying a property in Spain. I'll make it my luxury home. How about I take a 6-month vacation and I go live in Thailand? I don't need a visa for any of that. I don't even need to tell anybody. I just need to have money in my account.
Which I also don't.
But affordability aside, it must be really sweet to be able to make such decisions without any restrictions whatsoever. And there are also countries that are able to pull citizens from all over the world just because they can accommodate the personal needs of especially the minority groups. This includes women, children. Case in point, if you're a woman and you come from a country whereby there aren't so many rights for women, I'm going to be sharing top 10 countries that are absolutely the best for women. Another social factor why people immigrate is perhaps if they found love overseas and want to now join their spouses abroad, or reasons for family reunification, whereby parents are reunited with their children, or vice versa, as long as they're living abroad. Others just seek an adventure and just want to explore opportunities overseas. They pack the bags and off they go for a new adventure. Are you the daring kind? Would you just move just for adventure? Comment down below and let me know. Now, for the cultural factors, some people just simply move to a different locale as compared to what they're used to at home. Let's say if you're born in the village, or let's say in the suburbs, then you may crave a busy life and want to move to some place like New York or any other busy, bustling city. And the opposite also tends to happen. People moving from busy cities, opting for a more calm and slow-paced environment. Religion can also be a pull factor. There have been so many missionaries that packed their bags and went to spread the word of God to many countries overseas, only for them to end up settling in those countries for good. Now, on to environmental factors. So many people have also immigrated just because of good weather. And contrary to what many people think, Africa is actually one of the best destinations to migrate to when it comes to great weather. Not cold, not too hot. Perfect. Others move in search of better quality of life, as earlier mentioned, and there are countries like Singapore that have really attracted a lot of people, and mostly due to the quality of life and mostly the infrastructure, which is just phenomenal. Adequate supply of water, amazing technology, great infrastructure, no bumpy roads, skyscrapers, a lot of job opportunities. The list is endless. Have you heard about nature immigrants? Yes, that too also exists. There are people who simply move just because of nature. They want to be in touch with their natural side, and that includes the environment. They want pollution-free air, absolutely clean cities, and even just naturally beautiful countries. And yes, there are countries that are truly blessed and that are stunningly beautiful, have least amount of pollution, are comprised of just a lot of forests, lakes, and just beautiful nature all around them. And lastly, legal factors that pull people from all over the world into a country. Did you know that actually having democracy in your country pulls immigrants in, just as well as having freedom and non-existing corruption? So, have you ever considered migrating at any one point in your life? What were the reasons why you wanted to? Was it that you were just simply fed up with your country, or was it that you were just seeking an adventure overseas? Let me know in the comments down below, and of course give this video a thumbs up, subscribe!